my name is Kari Ryman. I'm a certified nurse midwife, and I have with me today Lyndsay Duffe, who's also a certified nurse midwife. She is the newest member of the BJC Medical Group midwifery team, and I couldn't be more excited to have her here today. We got the opportunity to work together for about 6 months when she was a student, and I was her preceptor at my former job. And so we know we work really well together. We have the same approach to care, the same philosophy of care. And so I'm so excited to be able to introduce her to you all today. So Lyndsay, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited.
I'm so excited to have you joining the team. And so I just wanted to take the opportunity to introduce you to our current clients and our future clients. So tell us a little bit about yourself, your family, your hobbies, whatever you feel like you want to tell us.
So my name is Lyndsay, and I have been a midwife for about a year now, and I have an awesomely amazing family. I have 3 beautiful boys that one is 12. His name is Tyler. Luke is 8, and he's my wild child. And then I have Drew, who is 6. And then I have 2 angel babies, twins that we lost between Luke and Drew, and they're part of our family as well. Mm-hmm. And then my husband and I actually are 10 years married today. So
congratulations on your anniversary.
Thank you. Yeah. So we're super active family. We're outdoorsy, love hiking, kayaking. All 3 of my boys play hockey, and they're if we're not in a cold ice rink, we're outdoors in a swimming pool or on a kayak or hiking or adventuring or exploring the outdoors, geocaching, all kinds of things. So
cool.
That's where we love to be.
3 kids in hockey would keep you busy alone.
Oh my gosh.
Let alone all the other activities in school and everything.
You're 100% right with that. We're on the ice a lot, and it just got started last week. So
cool.
But it's fun.
That's exciting. Keeps you busy.
For sure.
So you're a certified nurse midwife. What led you to become a midwife? What made you interested in that? And what kind of is your background that gave you the experience to become a midwife?
So I actually developed my love for birth and midwifery in nursing school. So in nursing school, the very first birth I attended was in my OB rotation, and it blew my mind at how amazing women are and how changing that moment is. And so I knew that's where I wanted to be. I went through nursing school. I got my first job in labor and delivery, which I was lucky to do at that time. It was really hard to get into that field because everybody wanted to do it. And
it's the best area of nursing. That's why.
It is, for sure. And so I started out at St. Mary's Labor and Delivery. It's a high-risk unit that delivers lots of babies, and I was a nurse there for 7 years and absolutely loved it. Fell in love with childbirth and caring for women and caring for newborns. And ultimately, I saw some things within that unit that I wanted to change and make an impact on, and that's why I chose midwifery. I wanted to be more patient-focused and educate women and really prepare them for the childbirth process. And I felt like I was missing a piece where I could care for that person throughout their pregnancy also.
Yeah, really get to know them ahead of time. Instead of
exactly. To build those relationships. And that's what led me to midwifery.
Awesome. And St. Mary's, that's a great place to really get a lot of experience because you see everything there, the low risk patients, but also the highest risk. So that gives you lots of skills and emergency situations that you're practiced at handling. So you come to midwifery with so much already experience at hand.
Exactly. And that's where I really focused on midwifery is I saw those low risk moms that didn't need the medical intervention getting the medical intervention, and it was impacting their outcomes. They were at higher risk for C-section. They were having more complications with their birth because of the intervention and the medical management. And I wanted to be that piece that took that out where it didn't need to be.
And that's one of the best things about being a midwife in the hospital, I think, is that we can give true midwifery care to those low-risk women who all we end up doing is just encouraging them and supporting them as their body does their thing. But then we also have the ability to intervene if necessary and do inductions if medically necessary and treat the high-risk complications. So, but still giving that true time-intensive, patient-focused care. So that's, I think BJC Medical Group Midwifery is a great team for that reason of that. We can really give great midwifery care regardless of the risk status.
And that's exactly why I came to BJC Medical Group, is because they actually honor and appreciate the time it takes to inform and educate and empower the women in order to let their bodies do what they do best.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah.
So you've been a midwife for about a year now.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have any memorable birth stories that you'd like to share just for fun?
Oh, I think every single birth that I've attended is memorable. Everyone is unique in its own way. There's been so many. I've been honored to be overwhelmed with the amount of births I've been able to do, and just caught my 100th baby. And
Congratulations.
thank you. I've had lots of memories. And let's see. One of the biggest was a first-time mom who was scared to death at her first prenatal appointment. She was so overwhelmed and fearful of the end. And through the prenatal care, every single visit, we were able to kind of knock some of that fear away. And to see her thrive so much at her birth, she had a really quick birth. She was unmedicated. She powered through. She had fear in her eyes, but she knew that she was safe in her care. And at the end, she was holding her baby and she's like, "What just happened? I just had a baby and you helped me so much." And she gave me this big hug. And I think that was my biggest memory as a new midwife, and getting that first mom through the fear that she had and having her have such a successful experience.
That story literally gives me goosebumps, because that's the best part of this job, is just seeing women realize, like, I did something really amazing. My body is capable. I am strong. And just seeing them realize what they've just done. That's one of the best parts of the job. Which does lead me to my next question of, tell us the good and the bad. What do you think is the hardest part of being a midwife, and what's the most rewarding and best part?
So, of course, the most rewarding and best part is seeing the families grow, seeing the unconditional love that these families have in that room, and just being it's such an honor to be a part of that moment. It's such an honor to be included in the love that brings.
And the biggest day of people's lives for a lot of people, a very memorable day. I do feel that it's a privilege and an honor to be there.
The hardest parts, I would say, are the loss. Along with successful, healthy pregnancies, there is loss. There's early loss. There's pregnancy complications. There's all of those things. And to help support those moms through that time, I would say, is ultimately the hardest role that I feel that we play.
Yeah.
Informing people of abnormals or things that have changed the plans that they want.
Right.
And ultimately helping them through that. It's challenging, but I also find it rewarding to get through that and also have success at the end.
Yeah. And a big part of how we can do that well, as far as like helping through changing of the plan that's necessary for safety, is really having the time intensive care. Mm-hmm. So that's a big part of BJC Medical Group that I'm so grateful for, is that we have the time with patients. So we have 60-minute new patient appointments, whether for GYN or OB, and then 30 minutes for every other appointment. So that really gives us the opportunity to have time to get to know them as an individual and develop that trust, so that in labor, when, hey, this was the birth plan, but we have to deviate for the safety of mom or baby, they're going to trust us, and they do trust us that, hey, we're on your team, we're on your side. You've seen that in the last 9 months, that we're here on your team to really work together for the ultimate goal.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I am so thrilled that you are joining the team here at BJC. It's wonderful to have a partner. And I wanted to kind of explain to our listeners what that's going to look like. So right now I am on call all the time for my patients. When I'm out of town, our OB collaborator backs up. But with you joining, now people have guaranteed midwifery coverage. We won't be taking vacation at the same time, so that they know they'll have a midwife at their birth. So how that looks is that patients will have the option to go back and forth between us for all of their visits. So one with me, one with you, or however works best for their schedule and what they want. So they have a chance to get to know and trust both of us well and develop that strong relationship. Then in labor, when they call, whoever's on call, because we'll be switching back and forth. So I want people to know that it is going to be a team approach, that you can't necessarily like pick one of us or the other. We're going to work together as a team for your whole pregnancy and the birth experience. And we have the same model of care. Do you want to talk a little bit about what that looks like?
Sure. The biggest focus for our model is patient-centered care. We want to make your experience what you want to experience. If you want natural childbirth and letting your body progress through labor, we're not going to rush that process. We are going to let you have the time you need for those contractions to build, for your baby to come down into the pelvis. Freedom of movement, getting on a birthing ball, hands and knees on the floor, whatever makes you comfortable. We're going to help support you in that. We're going to give you the birth that your body can do and give you the time it takes to do that. You're not rushed on a time schedule. You're given the opportunity of freedom of movement, intermittent monitoring, things along those lines, so that we can ultimately reduce the stress that you have in an unknown environment to help let your body do the physiological process of birth and get through those humps that being out of your home environment does give you. But we want to make it more comfortable and soothing and let you get through those tough moments so that you can bring your baby into the world.
Yeah, and there's a lot of little things that we do that I feel like make a big difference, like keeping the room really dark. So first thing I do when I get there is turn off all the lights, and we have little lights on rockers or just the little glow candles, because there's research that being in a bright open room makes you feel more fearful, close down things, and labor can slow down. So we try and set the environment with low lighting. You can bring your own music. We have a diffuser that you can use for oils and scents if you want to. So trying really hard, like you said, to have a peaceful environment to let your body do what it knows to do. And like you mentioned, like we want them to have the birth that they want. So if that means you want an induction at 39 weeks and an epidural the moment you feel pain, we'll support that too. We have no stake in the game as far as whether you have an epidural or not. Our goal is to support our clients and their goals for birth.
And educating them prior to.
Right. About why maybe we do promote going into labor on your own instead of an induction. Right.
Yeah.
And that goes into the next part about midwifery care that's really important to us is shared decision making. So I go through this little spiel with all my patients at their first visit of like shared decision making and informed choice are really big parts of our practice. So what that means, like as we go along, we'll say, hey, at your next visit, this is the testing that is normally done. Here's why we're doing the testing. Here's the risks and benefits of doing it or not doing it. And then ultimately supporting the patient in their decision. So a lot of times that means that I have patients that decline to do something I'm directly recommending, or they do something that I directly recommend against. And I always tell them ahead of time, like, I'm never going to make you feel pressured, coerced, or judged for doing those things because you're in charge of your healthcare. You're the decision maker here, and I am here to support you. So as a team, we're here to support our clients in their desires for their birth. And again, as we mentioned before, like we try really hard to develop a trusting relationship so that when we give advice or recommendations that you understand that we're really doing it for your best interest. Another part of that approach to care is the closer postpartum follow-up and GYN care. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah. So we will see you within the hospital after you give birth, and then 2 weeks and 6 weeks postpartum. We're going to keep a close eye on you, looking for any red flags for anything that's abnormal, but we're hoping to not find any of those red flags and get you through a really close observation and make sure that you're cared for and all your questions are answered through this transition period in your life. And then continuing on throughout your life for your well woman care. We build these relationships and they don't just stop after you have your baby. We can continue to see you from birth or teenage years on, help you through the menopausal symptoms that you'll have later on in life, and do your yearly follow-ups on your pap smears or whatever you're needing at that time, and making sure that you're safe and healthy and take care of you as a whole person. Yeah, that continuity of care is one of the best parts, that we get to keep seeing people that we've had this amazing labor and birth experience with for years and years to come. This has been so much fun. Thank you so much for coming and taking the time to talk with us and introduce yourself a little bit to our listeners. I really appreciate your time. Anything else that you'd like to say before we end? I think really just I'm super excited to be joining the practice. I think that it gives the women in our area the opportunity to experience midwifery care. And I think that we're going to be a wonderful team working together, supporting our women and families through birth. I agree fully. I'm so excited moving forward. I am too. Thank you so much for taking the time to listen today. If you have any more questions, please feel free to put a question in the comment below. We'll be happy to get back to you. And if you want more information about our practice, you can go to midwifekari.com, and that's the website that we'll be using for both of us. And that has a lot more information about what to expect with care. And again, thank you so much for your time.